Hello, welcome back to the UK Tonight. Now, the number of children writing in their spare time has dropped to an all-time low, according to a new report from the National Literacy Trust, which has found that fewer than a third of under 18s enjoy writing for fun. The charity is warning that the dwindling popularity of the hobby is reaching a crisis point. They're calling on the for Education to place a greater emphasis on its importance as a subject. So why are less and less children writing these days? Well, 11-year-old writer Sarah Kitto joins us now. She's already published 4 books. She's appeared on the UK Tonight before. She's a familiar face to you. And also, alongside Sarah, children's author Gabrielle Kent. Good evening to you both. Gabrielle, I'll come to you first if I can. Why are children not writing for fun anymore?
It's a difficult one to answer. I think there's a lot of factors coming into play, but I do think the current curriculum can sap the enjoyment out of writing to an extent, as it's so focused on process rather than creativity. And there are teachers out there who are doing an absolutely wonderful job, but I see them on Twitter getting quite stressed at the level of grammar they need to teach and assess while still fostering a love of reading and writing in the children. And I think with the huge amount that the children have to learn and retain, it can be difficult for them to be creative while bearing so much of that technical side in mind. I know I get nervous when I'm in classrooms and I see posters about fronted adverbials and prepositions. So even as a published author, I see what children are learning in school, and it does make me nervous.
Yeah, more technical than creative. Sarah, you're listening in there. Does that sound a little bit like what's happening in schools at the moment? It's a bit too technical. There's no fun when it comes to writing. Where's the creativity?
Yes, I do think that's the case because nowadays there's instead of younger kids reading and writing as a hobby, what they do now is they go more on technology, for example, phones, laptops, and like even though it there's lots of benefits that come onto that, it's not like they're even using ebooks on the technology, which they could do, but they still just don't for because they are distracted by other things.
Yeah, by screens. I mean, Gabrielle, I'm sure that's something you hear a lot as well. I know a lot of parents that I speak to on the UK Tonight and in everyday life. Children's lives at school and in leisure time is so much on screens. Picking up a pen and a piece of paper just doesn't happen as much. How do we encourage that?
It's true, but I wouldn't say screens are necessarily the enemy as well, because my background is actually in video games, so I've done work kind of writing and creating video games myself, so I'm partly the
Well,
culprit.
you manage both. You manage both.
But there's wonderful tools like Twine, say for children who may not pick up a pen and paper and write. It's actually free software, and they can go online and create actual branching stories. So choose your own adventure kind of story games, and it's so easy to do. So there is technology like that that could actually encourage children to write that maybe don't want to sit down with a pen and paper. But I think as well, children need to see the whole range of writing careers. So, they could move into writing for video games, writing for animation and film and TV. It's not necessarily, you don't have to become an author or a journalist. There's a huge range of writing careers out there.
Yeah, Sarah, what tips would you give to your peers about writing? I mean, when I was younger, most people my age would get into creative writing by, making up stories for their friends or keeping a diary. And it's all about writing about what you know, isn't it? There's no subject off limits. And I know that you started writing because you couldn't see any stories for you with little girls that look like you in them.
I would say the tips I would give is to just go for it because like even if you're not writing on a piece of paper, you could still go onto all these different apps to not write like as in handwriting, but you could still like write stories. Like for example, there's Words, Google Docs, all these different things you could use to write, yet people still don't do it because I feel like they choose not to. They could, but they still choose not to.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for your time this evening. Sarah, I did think of you at the weekend, actually, when I watched Britain's Got Talent. Alicia Dixon, your favourite author, was on there. And I thought about your friendship that you struck up after we put you in touch here on the UK Tonight, because you're a big fan of her work. How's that friendship going?
It's going well. I remember a couple weeks after we did the interview previously, I got a package from her with her new book, and it's really good so far.
5-star review from you. Oh, well, you never know. You could end up writing together one day. Keep the writing up, Sarah. Keep up the good work. Sarah and Gabrielle, really good to hear from you on the UK Tonight. Thanks for your time.